Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 5th official episode of Podcast Period, the final episode. We made it to 5 episodes, and we're never going to record anymore because we've reached the peak of success. Nobody's ever made it to 5 episodes before. Every other podcast, they've either made it to like 2 or 3. Not us. We beat the odds. We made it to episode 5. We're just that good.
He's kidding, guys.
I think that was the worst attempt at humor I've ever had on this podcast. That was awful.
Facepalm.
Anyway, so this is episode 5. My name is Ben, and I've got my co-host David here.
Hey, guys.
And we've just got, as per usual, a whole bunch of random topics, and one that I haven't told David about any of my topics, but they're all fairly standard to what we usually like to talk about. A bunch of tech stuff, blah, blah, blah. And one little surprise that I'm saving for the end. So, so I'm going to go first since I think I've got one more topic than you. And it's actually, my first topic is actually an update to something that we talked about in our first 2 episodes. The AT&T 5GE.
I want to do this.
I saw an article earlier this week.
I know what it is.
Study claims AT&T's fake 5G is slower than any other carrier's regular 4G.
Yep, that's what I thought.
So this article is from Engadget. It says AT&T's so-called 5G network offers similar speeds to LTE and actually clocked in just a tick slower than enhanced 4G services from Verizon and T-Mobile. So it's not every other carrier, but Verizon and T-Mobile, 2 of the more major carriers. Amazing. And it even says in AT&T's marketing materials that its 5G service is the first step on the road to 5G and can offer up to 2 times faster than standard LTE. But this third-party study company, OpenSignal, they ran a bunch of speed tests. I'm going to assume from all different places where AT&T just rolled out this 5G thing, and it's still fairly solid speeds. It's actually really not all that much slower than 4G LTE from T-Mobile or Verizon, but the fact that their amazing 5G evolution is slower than other companies' 4G is just, it's icing on top of the cake. Yeah, honestly,
it really
it's
is.
Amazing. So yeah, that's my very short first topic. I thought some people would appreciate that. You go ahead with what you got there, David.
All right, so my first topic, I am going to, and it's an ongoing thing, so I'm sure that we'll probably have a couple of updates to this because investigations and stuff are still underway. Mm-hmm. But Boeing's latest and arguably the most successful airliner that they've ever made, the Boeing 737. Anybody that's flown with Southwest has probably flown a 737. The latest version, the MAX 8, experienced 2 different, almost identical situation crashes here lately, and the entire fleet is now grounded worldwide. So there was a Lion Air Flight 610 and an Ethiopian Flight 302 that both crashed. I want to say it was with like 10 minutes of takeoff. One of them was back in October of last year, and then the last one just occurred earlier this month, March the 10th.
How bad of like a crash are we talking about?
Everybody died. Both
Whoa,
crashes.
What, really?
Yes, 100% fatality.
How did this? how did they not ground these earlier?
Well, it wasn't a because it just now happened. Well, the first one just happened in October.
Yeah.
I mean, things like this happen. There wasn't really any like indication that something was like horribly wrong. Like that, it didn't come up that something is wrong until the second one happened, and they got the preliminary data back from the flight data recorders and stuff, and it looked like the trajectories that the planes took experienced nearly identical pitches and yaws as far as altitude and all that goes. And that's when the red flags went up, and it was just like, okay, something is wrong with the plane. Now they're trying to trace it back. What is it? Because it is overall the biggest change they've made to the 737 lineup since its creation happened with this latest iteration. To make it a little bit more efficient, because they were going after, I don't know which one it was, but there was an Airbus one that was going to be more fuel efficient and stuff. So this was Boeing's like hurried up and fast-paced response to the new competition or upcoming competition. They made the plane engines a little bit bigger to get a little bit more efficiency out of them. I'm not entirely sure why, but in doing so, they had to raise them up and push them a little forward on the wing surfaces, which slightly altered the flight characteristics of the plane. So there's this new system, and this is the first plane that they put it on, and they put it on for that very reason, was because of the slight differences that the plane characteristics have now during flight. It's called the MCAS, or the Maneuvering Characteristics Augmentation System, if I can say all that right. Basically, it's advanced like autopilot that's supposed to detect the changes that this plane is going through because of how the center of gravity and all that changed. It has a tendency to want to pitch up, and if it pitches up too much, that brings the nose up. It can stall because you're not getting enough lift over the wings. So this is an automated computer response that goes off of sensors that are supposed to detect what the pitch of the plane is, and it can't be overridden by pilots or anything like that. And basically the whole thing was fast-tracked to where most of these pilots don't know what to do or that the system is even engaging. Like it's completely automated, and they've got very little training. The FAA allowed very little retraining on this because it was basically just a newer version of the same plane. So basically, if you knew how to fly 737 this whole time, you're basically good to go. There's not a huge like change in it. Well, apparently that might be a little bit under exaggerated. The causes are still under investigation. They still have to go through all this final investigation stuff and find out exactly what's going on. Is it software issues with this new system? Is it sensor input malfunctions? What exactly is going on? But both planes, everybody was killed. It was somewhere in the neighborhood of slightly under 200 passengers for both of them. The first one was 189 passengers and crew, and then the second one was 157 people.
Jeez.
The first one was within 12 minutes of takeoff, and then the second one was within 6 minutes.
Wow.
So after that second one happened, and they got that weird altitude changed, the way it pitched up all of a sudden, that's when they got worried, and they grounded the entire fleet worldwide.
Wow.
So it's something that I'll have to look into. I'm sure Boeing's really, really hurting. I'm sure we'll have updates.
I would imagine, yeah, for real.
Don't know exactly what's going on, but and now there's questions of FAA fast tracking this, Boeing fast tracking this. Were they trying to compete too much, too soon, not taking proper safety precautions? Were the pilots given adequate training? All that stuff. So it's going to be a huge mess for time to come.
It sounds to me like kind of like the FAA said, it really shouldn't be that big of a change, but maybe considering what they did with the plane engines, raising them up and whatnot, there might be, like you said, there might be more of a change than anybody could have expected.
Well, the fact that Boeing themselves, because they're obviously a for-profit company, they're not going to add an additional system unless there's a reason for it. And the fact that they added this MCAS system says to me that Boeing was at least worried enough about the flight characteristics of the plane changing that they added the system. And there's software updates and changes that were coming to the system that hadn't been pushed out yet. And that second plane met its fate. And now it's really going to come down to what's the outcome of this? Is it software? Is it just a simple bug fix, or is it like a whole design flaw? Like, did changing the airframe the way they did they make this plane inherently unsafe with no way to correct it? I mean, we don't know yet.
I guess, yeah.
I'm hoping
that's
it's
something
simple.
We're just gonna have to wait and see.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's as simple as just reprogram the computers, do some better training. There's some safety systems that both of these planes were not equipped with. Because
I heard about that. Like, Boeing was charging extra for safety features
for these
or something like that.
Specific safety features. One of them being a light indicator saying that these sensors for the MCAS system is giving different readings than the traditional in-flight systems, like the I forget what it's called. I think it's called the gimbal or something like that.
It's just
the
a
false
little
horizon
light?
with inside. Well, yeah, some kind of indicator light saying, "Hey, there might be a problem with this." That these planes
and they were
didn't
charging
have.
extra for that.
Exactly. One of the things that has definitely happened, they've already said, that particular one is definitely going to be rolled out for everyone. No extra
as
charge.
standard.
As standard, yeah.
They probably should have done that at the beginning.
That's what I said. When
you
I
would
read
think.
This. Yeah, exactly. So I'm hoping.
Wow.
For everybody's sake, that it's something that they definitely find out the cause before they let any of these planes go back up in the air. For Boeing's sake, it better be something easy to fix and not a design flaw because of the way they had to change the mounting of the engines. I just hope these poor people get some answers. I mean, that's a lot of families that now have no loved ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because of we don't know yet. So that's a definitely developing story. I'll have to stay on top of that one.
Well, if we have any updates to that in any future episodes, we'll be sure to include that. Let's just hope that that's a simple fix.
Yeah,
wow, that is insane. Okay, so GDC was this week, a little bit veering a little bit away from the topic of Boeing. GDC was this week. And Google announced their new, I don't know if it's like a store or like a streaming service or what, but the way that they're pitching it is basically like Netflix for video games.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I don't know if that means that it's going to be a subscription service or if it's going to be like you buy a game and you have this game library and it's basically like Steam, except you don't have to download the game. You just stream it straight from a server from Google. And that's only because I haven't done a huge amount of research into it. I've got an article open from like the announcement, but I don't think they delved all that much into it. Oh, they did. Okay, let's see. So, yeah, they're not sure exactly what the revenue stream is going to be. But anyway, it's like I said, it's basically Netflix for games. I've looked at the hardware specs for their servers. It's not bad.
No, it's
really not.
Oh.
They've got what is it? I can't remember the exact specs, but I know everybody likes the teraflops and whatnot.
Yeah, it's supposed to be over
GPU,
10 teraflops of performance, and that's basically an Xbox and a PS4 combined.
More than an Xbox and PS4 combined, yeah. The CPU, I think it was a crazy CPU and a crazy amount of RAM and whatnot. And hopefully this means it's going to be a relatively easy experience for those people like David and I who have at least decent enough internet connections to like stream a 4K video or whatever, which is basically what this comes down to. But we won't know until they launch it, and I don't think they've had they have a launch date or anything like that.
Yeah.
This article says it's going to be sometime in 2019. So yeah, that's I don't know. It seems pretty interesting. And on top of that, there's also I was reading there's rumors of Walmart starting their own subscription streaming game service.
Yep, heard that too.
God only knows how that's gonna go.
Probably as well as their OP lineup went the first time around.
I was just gonna say that probably as well as their line of gaming PCs that they put out.
Oh
Lord!
I think that was just stupid on Walmart's part. That was
yeah.
They don't have the people that can pull something like that off. They don't have that type of talent. You've got to have some pretty enthusiastic and dedicated people to at least make them look good. And then you've got to have smart people to balance them out properly, because they didn't look like they were very well balanced in the get-go.
I think the smart route for Walmart to go would be to find somebody that's already like a startup or something that's already working on this, and then just buy them out.
Yeah,
that would be the smart way to go. And that's not saying that there's anybody working on anything like this, because I have no idea what this sort of landscape is like. But that would be the smart way to go.
Yeah, go get a startup that's working on it and knows what they're doing. Or partner with an already well-known and well-established system integrator.
Yeah, exactly.
And just offer to sell those systems. And see if they can just get a small little piece of the cut. I'm sure somebody would be willing to make a deal with Walmart.
Yeah.
To get some sales numbers moving. Because Lord knows, I know they can move those Dells and HPs like clockwork.
Yeah, I know.
Surely they can move regular gaming PCs and a little bit higher up markets, as well as they can their other markets.
Yeah. But yeah, Google Stadia, that's a thing now. I'm looking forward to seeing how exactly this is going to work out. It's probably not something that I'm going to do, but that's mostly because I've got a gaming PC that can already run things decently.
That's what I was thinking. They need to. This is great for those that have the internet capable of doing this, but also not necessarily has the money or the means to either build a better gaming computer or wants to even deal with that. And they just want the simplicity of turning it on, starting it up, and get going on it. So it's great for those that have potato hardware.
Depending on how demanding this 4K stream would actually be, which is apparently what they're targeting right now, is a 4K 60 hertz experience.
Mm-hmm.
Probably going to be variable depending on maybe even the game or your internet connection. But that's what they're going for. And depending on how demanding this is, you could get your MacBook Air and plug that in, plug a game controller in, and be set to go.
Yep.
And you could be playing, the new Resident Evil at high detail, blah 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 blah, all that good stuff. So yeah, I think that's definitely the demographic they're aiming for. I am just not part of that demographic.
Yeah, no. It'll be great for those. Apparently, what they have preliminary requirements is going to be at least 25 to 30 megabits a second, which isn't a lot, but I don't know. Here in the U.S., we seem to have a huge discrepancy between what we should be able to get and what we get. Internet here is kind of crappy if you think about it. There's other places that really are so much better.
Well, we've talked to one of my friends, one of David's friends, Kevin, who lives over in Sweden. And what is he? He said he's got 100 for $50 or something like that. Last time we talked to him, which David's got, what is it, 420?
Yeah, I've got 420.
And I've got the issue. Yeah, I've got 210. The download speed is not the issue here. The upload speed is going to be the issue, and that's not necessarily going to be the issue for this service, but just for U.S. internet as a whole, the upload speed is an extreme bottleneck, especially considering. Not everybody's live streaming or anything, but you got plenty of people wanting to try it out, and they've got piddly 5 megabytes a second, which
that's what I had.
It's
terrible.
It's not going to do a whole lot.
No,
yeah,
it's not. It really doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
What I'd like to see out of this, one thing, the capability of maybe or entirely, either partially or entirely, locally running the game on your local PC. If you've got the recommended specs and stuff, Lord knows me and you would be okay for almost anything.
Yeah.
But if you can, and that eases up either some of the requirements for the internet, or just eases up the load on their servers and stuff. Run it locally so that it's not as much of a burden, and it kind of evenly distributes it out a little bit better. That way, those that need to run on their servers can absolutely do it as long as they've got the internet, go for it. And then those that might not need that type of horsepower and may not have the internet to be able to pull what they need to pull for that type of connection, maybe be able to do it locally. So maybe a mix and match and try to balance it out. But
the only thing with that is I don't know how that would work. Would you load the resources on your PC? It would basically be downloading a game from Steam at that point.
But yeah, like I said, there'd have to be some kind of, or just have that option that you've and then, well, depending on the model they go to.
Yeah.
If it's a subscription model or if you're actually paying it. If it's a subscription model that you can run locally, and then as soon as you don't use the subscription, you lose access to the game, that would be something.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see how they handle things.
Exactly.
All right. Well, that's Google Stadia. One
more thing on that.
What else did you... Okay.
Make them change that god-awful controller.
Oh, yes. I have a picture of that pulled up. It looks bad. That looks like... It doesn't... The controller looks functional. It just looks too long.
Yeah.
Or too wide. It looks like the original Xbox controller almost.
Mm-hmm.
Except less bulky.
Yeah, and I'm not a huge fan. This is really going to turn into a PS4 versus Xbox debate. Yeah. I think offset joysticks.
Yeah.
And those
I'm with you.
joysticks are too much like the DualShock controllers on PlayStation. I never liked that setup. And that's what that's going to turn into. That's going to turn into a contest between PC, Xbox, and PS4 people.
Yeah. I prefer the Xbox style.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer the Xbox like shape
Yeah.
of their new controllers too. It fits into the hand nicely.
Their 360S controllers were by far probably the best controller I've yet seen made. Like it's just wonderful. In my
All right,
opinion.
well, anyway, yeah,
Next one.
that's Stadia. What else did you bring? What you got?
All right, so a small little tidbit of transportation horror. That seems to be my topics today, guys. Is, transportation trio of death and destruction. Instead of planes, trains, and automobiles, I've got planes, automobiles, and boats. So there was a Viking River Cruises. I'm sure a lot of people have heard of them, at least from the fact of their commercials. Because I have to admit, they do look pretty nice and stuff. But it was just a couple of days ago. It was off, I want to say it was off the coast of Norway. And the poor boat lost all engine power. Yeah, it was off the coast of Norway. Lost all engine power in the middle of a storm. So this thing's getting like pushed off to shore. It's got no way to control itself, and they've got videos on it on Twitter and stuff of poor passengers on the decks of the boat, literally being thrown left and right as the ship is yawing and pitching port and starboard, and it's just crazy to watch. And it's like, well, if you didn't have seasickness before, you definitely have it afterwards, because there's no way around that. So they eventually got one engine going so they could at least get themselves a little bit further offshore, dropped anchor in the middle of this storm. They're still getting tossed back and forth. They had to get helicopters to go out and evacuate everybody off the ship. And you can see inside the videos, they've literally got furniture just rolling across the decks, like huge, like centerpiece potted plants and stuff, like 8-foot diameter, like sculptures of plants.
Jeez.
And planting beds and stuff just rolling across the decks. It's absolutely terrifying. I would not be surprised if anybody would have been killed in this incident with all this stuff just flying everywhere.
That's insane.
So they had evacuation was slow and a dangerous process, as passengers needed to be hoisted up from the cruise ship to 5 different helicopters, one by one.
Jeez.
And they had 1,373 passengers on board.
Does it say how many? I mean, it probably doesn't, but does it say how many people would fit onto one of the helicopters?
Didn't say how many would be on there at one
There's
point.
not. Is there a picture of the helicopters? Maybe we can figure that out. I just want to know, like, how long it would have taken them to get everybody off.
Well, I'm sure it would have gone a lot faster if they didn't have 43-mile-an-hour winds and waves up to 26 feet.
Probably, yeah. I would think
Just
so.
tossing this poor thing.
It sounds a little bit like a hurricane. Jeez.
It was terrible to watch. It was on a 12-day trip. And
how far were they into it?
Well, if that was March 14th and this happened on the 23rd, that must have been close to the very end of it.
Yeah, if it was a 12-day trip, yeah, it would have been at least not even a couple days off, I don't think.
This article doesn't say when it was supposed to end.
Wow. That's crazy. Okay.
Can't see a picture of the helicopters. They got videos of it posted, but that's That's it. You can't really tell anything from that.
Wow. I like you said, I'm sure it probably took a while. Even if they were just stranded out in the middle of nowhere, it would have taken them a while to offload everybody without the storm.
Yeah, I feel sorry for these poor people.
Yeah, that's crazy. My goodness.
I don't think I'd ever want to get on a cruise ship again if I had gone through this.
For real. It reminds me of, I don't remember how long ago that was, but wasn't there like a cruise ship that lost power or something like that a couple years ago from Carnival or whatever?
They had like 3 different cruise ships that had different problems. There was one of them that had an engine fire, I want to say.
I think that's the one I'm remembering. There was one that, or maybe it was like all 3 that they were parodying, but SNL did a sketch, right after these. At least one of them happened. That's what I'm remembering. That's what it's reminding me of, kind of.
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
They had a lot of them. Seemed like every few months they had another Carnival cruise that was doing something it wasn't supposed to be doing.
Just a little bit, yeah.
I want to say there was one really recently that was some kind of outbreak or something happened on the ship.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't remember what the outbreak was about.
I think I know what you're talking about.
I just wouldn't want to be involved with that.
No, I would not. You're not kidding. No. Okay. My next topic can only be introduced one way. That's right. Halo, the Master Chief Collection, is coming to the PC!
Yes.
That's right! It's happening! It's finally happening. I'm so excited. I've already told David, once that comes out, we're buying it and we're playing through all of them. Although, come to find out, they're releasing, one game at a time.
Yeah.
But still, I'm so excited. This is this has been a long time coming. I have Halo 1 and Halo 2, the original disc releases, on PC, and I think I have played the literal crap out of them. I'm just excited to play through remasters and remakes and play through the ones that I never got to, because I used to have an Xbox, but I was never able to pick up 3 or ODST or Reach. So I'm just excited to play through all those. But yeah, thanks for ruining my reveal there, YouTube. But anyway, that was my super excited news for this week. That's all it is. I'm just excited.
I wonder how much this is going to be.
I don't know. It's hard to say, because it released as one game originally. And I think what they might do is just charge full release price for it, for the first game, and then maybe a couple bucks for every game after that or something like that as DLC. But it's hard to say. Either way, I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna play it. I don't care. I want it. If I could buy it right now, I would. I would definitely do it right now.
Do we know when it's coming out? Have they said?
They haven't had a definite release date yet, but I believe it's going to be sometime later this year. But yeah, when they announced it, they didn't give a definite release date or anything like that. So, yeah, that's it. I'm excited. What do you have now, David?
Back to my transportation trio of nightmares. This one's
are we getting to the automobiles part now?
We're getting to the automobiles. This one's been going on for a long time, but it's just something that keeps being brought up, and the only reason why I remembered to even think about it was Travis said that he had gotten a recall notice for it the other day.
Mm-hmm.
And he was telling me about it. It's like, oh, I guarantee I already know what it's about. If it's a recall on airbags, it's got to be Takata. And sure enough, it was Dodge doing it for Takata. So this has been going on for a long time. Initially back in 2014, and they're still adding more and more and more cars to this list. And
so
it's 5 years later.
Before you keep going, Takata is the manufacturer of the airbags, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So they have had a string of different automobiles, different manufacturers going back for the last 5 years added, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. They have everything from, and this is a long list, so bear with me, Acura, which is a Honda brand, Audi, which is Volkswagen, BMW, Cadillac is GM, Chevy, GM, Chrysler, Dodge Ram, and which is part of Chrysler, Ferrari, Ford, GMC, Honda, Infiniti, which is a Nissan brand, Jaguar, Jeep, another Chrysler thing, Land Rover, Lexus, which is Toyota, Lincoln, Mazda, McLaren, Mercedes-Benz, Mercury, Mitsubishi, Nissan, a few different GM brands, Pontiac, Saturn, Scion is in there for Toyota, as well as Toyota, Subaru, Tesla, and VW themselves. So it's a laundry list of different car manufacturers, each of them having a laundry list themselves of different cars. So, like, I'll take the big three for North America. So for Ford, they've got the 27 to 2010 Edge, the 2006 to 2012 Fusion, the 05 and 06 Ford GT, the 05 through the 14 Mustang, and the 04 through the 11 Ranger. And then GM, if I can find their list real quick, Sierras, Yukons, and Yukon XLs. I'll do Toyota too, that's popular here. 4Runners, Corollas, RAV4s, Sequoias, Siennas, Tundras. So vans, minivans, trucks, everything, almost anything under the sun, almost, is under this recall for different things.
Just from those three that you read, that was 14 different models.
Yeah.
That
ridiculous.
is insane.
Absolutely ridiculous. I think Honda is probably the biggest one out of all of them that have.
Well, that doesn't
they were the
surprise me.
first
Honda
ones.
is a. What is Honda originally? It's not an American brand, is
Japan.
it? Okay, yeah. Well, that makes sense. Is what is Takata? Is Takata Japanese or is that
I'm pretty sure Takata
Chinese?
is Japanese.
Well, there you go. That makes sense. Wow. It's kind of rare that you find at least that you publicly hear about a faulty Japanese product.
Yeah, it's
that comes like straight from Japan. But well,
I wanna make sure. I want to know which one it is because I don't actually know what country of origin Takata is from. Takata Corporation is an automotive parts company based in Japan. Yeah, usually Japanese companies don't have much of a problem.
No. Mm-mm.
But boy, oh boy, did they really step in it on this one. So I've got a quick timeline here from Consumer Reports. November 7th, 2014, New York Times published a report claiming Takata was aware of dangerous defects with its airbags years before the company filed paperwork with federal regulators. So the basic premise for this issue is the airbag inflators themselves inside the bag, with years of high humidity / heat, or I think it's the propellants that they've used become unstable, and when it is detonated, they're sending shrapnel through the airbag and into the occupant.
Ooh. Oh, wow.
So it's literally a safety device meant to save your life is killing you. So November 18th, 2014, the NHTSA, I'm just going to call it NHTSA from now on, called for the recalls to be expanded to a nationwide level. December 9th, 2014, Honda issued a statement saying it will comply with NHTSA and expand its recall to a national level. This brings the number of affected Honda Acura models and vehicles to 5.4 million. December 18th, 2014, Ford issues a statement adding an additional 447,000. 310,000 vehicles to the list. January 18th, 2015, the driver of a 2002 Honda Accord, see, this is how far back this goes, became the fifth person in the United States thought to have been killed by an exploding airbag inflator. February 2015, NHTSA fined Takata $14,000 per day for not cooperating fully with the agency's investigation into the airbag problems. May 2015, the Department of Transportation released a statement saying that Takata acknowledges airbag inflators it produced for certain vehicles were faulty. It expanded certain regional recalls to national ones, so they were focusing in deeper south areas at first, Florida, Mississippi, stuff like that, because of the higher humidity and heat levels that they go through, and then they sent it nationally because it just turned into a whole shabam, and they found out there were certain alpha class ones. They were calling it alpha because these were the most dangerous ones, and they were saying anybody affected by this needs to not drive their vehicle, period, until it's serviced by the dealers to get replacement airbags. May 28th, NHTSA and vehicle manufacturers revealed the additional models included in all previous recall announcements. May 2015, Chrysler, Mitsubishi, good grief, Subaru, and General Motors added the VIN numbers of impacted vehicles to their recall websites. So, within November to May, 6 months, 7 months, you go from Honda to Honda, Chrysler, Mitsubishi, Subaru, and General Motors. So you go from 1 to 5 different manufacturers within like 6 months. June.
And now there's what, like a good 30 to 35, something like that. Jeez.
June 4th, 2015, Reuters reports that at least 400,000 replaced airbag inflators will need to be recalled and replaced again. So not only did they not get it right the first time,
replace them with more Takata ones?
Apparently
really?
So.
Why would they think that this is a good idea?
I have no idea. June again. NHTSA and Honda confirmed that Takata airbag rupture was implicated in a 7th death. The driver of a 2005 Honda Civic was fatally injured following a crash. April 5th, Louisiana. So that very same day, they expand the national recall on the Honda Accord. And then the very next day, Takata. I was thinking Takata and Toyota. Toyota expands years recalls. I guess they meant expands years for recalls is what I'm assuming. They literally have it typed wrong.
Like the model years.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
I got you.
So they expanded the years for recall on previously announced models, adding 1.3 million vehicles. So we went from 400,000 added to another 1.3. And it just keeps going and going and going. They eventually I could keep going on this list, but it's getting kind of long now. They eventually go into bankruptcy.
Takata?
Yeah, they had to... February 12th, 2016. NHTSA expands list of impacted vehicles and models. Thus far, 7.1 million airbags have been repaired. So they at least had that many on recall if they got 7.1 million repaired.
Oh, I'm sure there's way more than that on recall.
Where does it say
there had to have been?
Go to bankruptcy? I want to say it was somewhere in 2017. So all throughout 2016, they're adding more vehicles. Audi, BMW, Jaguar add the list. 2.5 million more U.S. vehicles added. More Toyota, VW, and Mitsubishi ones. Fiat Chrysler adds more. Where's the recall? Leading to bankruptcy. January 12, 2017. Reports of an expected $1 billion penalty against Takata are published, with the expectation that $25 million will be a criminal penalty, and $850 million would be paid as restitution to automakers impacted by the recall.
That's insane.
February 28th, Takata has finally pled guilty to deceiving automakers about the safety of its airbags. Now automakers are disputing charges that they knowingly installed the defective airbags in their cars. So people were saying that there may have been different companies that knew about this, that there may be defective airbags going into the vehicles and stuff. So at some point the allegations came out that Takata willingly and not knowingly provided false safety data. Mm-hmm. So they finally admitted that. So then the automakers say, see, we didn't do it on purpose. June 26th, here we go, 2017, Takata files for bankruptcy. And it just keeps going. And going. And going.
That is insane.
December 12, 2018. Toyota says it will install new non-Takata airbag inflators and select Corolla, Sequoia, and Tundra pickups, as well as Lexus CS cars. No, SC cars. So Toyota finally brought a clue, and now they know they can't believe anything Takata said, and they're going to have to replace all this crap with somebody else. So this is just messed up.
Yeah, I would say so. Just a little bit.
So basically, if you have a car, you might want to go and go to the National Highway Safety Transportation Administration's national website. It's nhtsa.gov. They have an option in there to add your vehicle's VIN number to a list of different things. It checks for open recalls and stuff. You may want to go out and check and see if you have a recall on your vehicle. And if you don't yet, don't be surprised if you don't at some point. I'm waiting for the day that they add Camrys to this list. So far they haven't. And I don't know if that's because I don't have Takata airbags in my cars or something else. But I'm waiting for the day that every car in the world that has a Takata airbag is recalled and replaced. Because that sounds like that's what's going to have to happen.
That is actually insane.
This is more messed up than any. I mean, GM knowingly lied about ignition switches, which cause people to die in crashes. VW knowingly lied about their emissions stuff. This is bigger than all that combined. This is almost anybody who made a car using this company's airbags could be in trouble. This is huge.
That's just crazy.
It's ridiculous.
That is just insane. Like, actually insane.
I mean, I knew it was a big problem, but I didn't realize it'd gotten, like, this far.
Yeah.
Until I started looking at this again. I was like, holy cow. They got, like, 20 different makers with, like, 10 to 15 models each. This is running into the hundreds of thousands of cars each model.
Mm-hmm.
Running into the millions across the US.
Millions, yeah.
I wonder if it's tens of millions or hundreds of millions of cars at this point.
I don't know if it's gotten to hundreds of millions
but
yet,
it's definitely in the
tens. Yeah, it would have to be. That's crazy. Jeez. It's insane to me that, you know, one company can just, you know, tick this box on a checkbox and nobody bothers to check it. Like no third party person is required to go through and make sure that this thing actually does everything that it says that it does.
Yeah.
Especially on something that you're putting in your 7-ton Deathmobile, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I get that this is... I'm not going to place any blame on one particular automotive maker at all here, because apparently everybody ate the fruit to the poisonous tree here, but
yeah,
somebody, somewhere, should have caught this before it got to that level. If one of these car companies had gone through rigorous testing of this airbag, somebody would have caught this.
Yeah.
Well before it got to this level. Because now you're going back over the last 10, 15 years. Almost every single one of their airbags may have this problem.
There was a 2002 vehicle that had it. That's 17 years worth. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe not, because I assume that they would have stopped using Takata airbags after they figured out that this thing could happen.
Well, you would think, but there's a model... the earliest I've seen is 2002. Mm-hmm. But Volkswagen's got their 2017 through 2018 Tiguan on this list.
Jeez.
So why were they... That means those cars were probably made in 2016 and 2017, because they usually get made the year before the model.
Yeah.
Why the heck are they on that list? You think they would have bought a clue right there.
Yeah, you would think. I guess not.
So
I guess it just makes too much sense to not buy the faulty airbag and put it in your vehicle.
Oh no, there's a 2001 from Nissan.
Oh jeez, that's 18 years then. At least 17. At least 17.
Ridiculous. Jeez. Yeah, so far 2001 is the lowest I go. 2001 to 2003 Nissan Maxima.
That is insane. It just boggles my mind that, like I said, that a company could get away with that, especially for so long.
Yeah, really.
Jeez. All right. Well, the last big topic that I've got before I get to my little surprise is just a couple days ago, Microsoft announced that they're going to launch a discless Xbox One X, not X, S, on May 7th. It's like, what, a month away?
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's pretty close.
It's all digital. There's not going to be any disk drive, which should drive the manufacturing cost down, obviously. You don't have to add a disk drive. But apparently, at least according to this article that I'm reading from The Verge, they're thinking about like having an option when you, I guess if you're ordering it straight from Microsoft or something like that, you can order it with like your choice of games already installed on the Xbox. Like I don't know if they're limiting how many games that you can put on there. But it seems like a pretty smart move, honestly, especially considering they've really been pushing their Game Pass here lately. But yeah, so that's the thing. Diskless Xbox One S. Jeez. Quite a tongue twister there, Microsoft. Thank you. Anyway, so my last little topic here. You may not remember this, but I was like big into this website a long time ago. I don't think I've logged in here for probably like 4 to 5 years.
CoolMathGames.com?
Oh no, no. I'm talking about the granddaddy of Tumblr, DeviantArt.
Yeah, I have no clue what you're talking about.
So it's a website that still exists. People still use it apparently. I don't know why, but it's mostly for like art. It's in the name, DeviantArt, but you can post like writing and stuff on there too, which is mostly what I did because I am awful at like drawing anything. So while I was in high school, I started writing this. I don't know if I was ever planning on it like being a novel, but it was like this chapter. It was this story that I wrote chapter by chapter, and I'm gonna try to see if I can find like the original first chapter that I wrote, because apparently I rewrote it. I completely forgot about it. And I've only got the rewritten version on my DeviantArt. So let me see. My notes. Ooh, yes, I do. This is from from, let's see, 2011. This is 8 years ago.
Oh, Lord.
I wrote this and posted it on Facebook back when you remember the notes function on Facebook that nobody uses anymore?
Yeah.
That's where I originally posted it, and then I started reposting them over on DeviantArt. So this story, it's not extremely long, at least not the way that I at least not in the first iteration. But I think I've got like 20, let's see, how many was it? I think it was like 21 chapters on Facebook here. So there's a lot of we could definitely maybe later on go read these later, but for right now I just want to start with the prologue. This story is called Katana, and there's just no words. I have no words for this at all. This is you're getting a glimpse into the creative genius that is what is this? High school freshman, high school sophomore Ben.
I don't know if
this
I
is
want that.
I don't know if you want to either, but you're gonna get it whether you want it or not. So this is Katana prologue. So forgive me if I like cringe like halfway through reading this, but I have already like read a little bit into this, and this is awful. This is bad. Okay, so Katana prologue. Sean was worried. Why? He had a date. Sure, he had dates before, but this is the one date that would seal the deal. He and his girlfriend, Catherine, had been going out for quite some time, and he figured tonight was as good a night as any to pop the question. and then my next sentence goes to contradict the very obvious fact that he didn't plan this at all. He had planned this to perfection. He would take her to her favorite restaurant, order some wine, and once the wine came, he would get down on his knee and ask, what could possibly go wrong, he thought. Now he realized the only thing that could go wrong is her choosing the other option, a quick, cold-hearted no. Sure, the blow could be softened, but it wouldn't make it hurt any less. He would go through with his plan, however, in spite of the inevitable doubts. Later that night, Sean and Catherine were sitting at a table at the Chatouge Le Mouche. I think that was my attempt at creating a fake French restaurant, but it looks nothing like French at all. It's so bad. Everything had gone according to plan, including the wine bit. The wine arrived, and he knew he had to ask it. He knew he had to ask now, or it would never happen. He got down on his knee and began to speak. Catherine, we've been going out for a while now, and I feel like we've made a connection. So much so that I feel the need to ask you something. Catherine Marie Bates, will you marry me? Catherine, through tears of joy, cried, I thought you would never ask. Yes, Sean, yes, I will marry you. Both Sean and Catherine stood up. Catherine excitedly threw her arms around Sean's neck. When will it be? What should I wear? Catherine asked enthusiastically. Shouldn't we leave that until later? Right now, let's just celebrate. He picked up his glass and to give a toast. Suddenly, gunfire rang out. A voice, tinted with an Asian accent, yelled, Everybody on the ground, now! Sean, Catherine, and everybody else on the restaurant did as told. Catherine whispered, What would an Asian gang want when this place? It's French. Then the voice yelled out again. Good, you can follow orders. Now do me another favor. Tell me, where is Sean McAvoy?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, really good at thinking up names here. People started talking, saying they had no idea who this person was or where he is. Shut up, the man yelled. He picked up a man in his mid-20s. Sean, where are you? You wouldn't want this man to die, would you? Sean, now seeing lives were at stake, bolted from his position on the floor. Let him go. I'm the one you want. Stupid American, you would give your life for a stranger? The man turned to two men on his right, grab him and load him in the car. Suddenly, Catherine sprang from the floor. Sean, what are you doing? Come back to me. The man who called for Sean re-aimed his gun and shot Catherine. Oh. Stupid Americans. Load him up. Let's go. Sean, grieving over Catherine, broke free of his captors and punched one of them hard in the face. But before he could do the same to the other, the guard grabbed his arm and twisted it behind his back. Let this teach you a lesson. He quickly spun Sean around and gave him a powerful headbutt. The guard laughed. All the while, for Sean, the world was going black. That's it. That's the prologue that I've got. And I wrote 21 more chapters of this.
See, I started reading the prologue one day, and I didn't get to that part. I couldn't keep going because it was so...
bad?
It was so stupid.
You can say it. It's so bad.
Now I'm actually quite interested. If I kept going, I probably would have read the entirety of this thing.
It's interesting in that I honestly like what the idea was. My execution is awful. Even in the rewrite, because I remember rewriting this, and it was better, but it was still god-awful.
Lord.
So anyways, yeah, that's the prologue. The second chapter, I think, is like a lot longer. Or the first chapter, I should say. Actually, it's not that much longer. We're an hour and like 5 minutes in, because I think the first 5 minutes of our recording was just waiting to get ready to record. So I could read this first chapter. It's not that much longer than the prologue.
Go for it.
And then we can leave it off. We'll leave the rest for later. So this is Katana Chapter 1, which I think was posted like... Let's see. Oh, this was the same day I posted this. The same day as the prologue that I posted Chapter 1. Sean woke up with a throbbing pain in his forehead and to the sound of a rumbling engine and wheels scraping against rough sand. As his eyes adjusted to the dark interior of what appeared to be a trunk, he saw the metal sides of a van. He shifted his weight in an attempt to sit up, but his arms, which were apparently asleep, refused to cooperate. He groaned from the exertion, but was finally able to sit up. "Good afternoon, Sean. I hope my associate didn't hurt you too badly. Don't worry. It won't happen again. He has been, how do you say it, taken care of."
Oh, good.
"What do you want from me?" Sean yelled. You are valuable to my organization. You will see what is in store for you when we get to the compound." For the next 2 hours, he looked and listened for signs that would give him a clue as to where he was. The sand ruled out tons of places because of their Asian accents, he had to assume that he was somewhere in Asia, obviously. North Korea wouldn't be nearly bold enough to kidnap an American citizen. Obviously, that's not true because they've kidnapped plenty of people.
Well, God's green earth, what are you going for, Ben?
South Korea was on friendly terms with the U.S.
Oh, my Lord.
China was brave, but they weren't stupid enough to mess with America. Again, not true. That left Japan. Japan was also on friendly terms with the U.S., but the man had said something about an organization. Now the only question was, what did they want with Sean? Obviously, my circular logic here was that it's only Japan, but it's probably not the country of Japan because the dude mentioned an organization, but then that leaves the fact that it could be literally anywhere else in the world because it doesn't matter. It's an organization.
Did you have a Chinese classmate that pissed you off or something? Or
no,
Asian descent?
I really don't know why I focus so hard on this Asian thing. It's really weird. I don't understand. Before Sean could even begin to think of an answer, the van stopped. He heard 4 doors open and shut. Then the back doors opened and Sean was instantly blinded. He heard the man say, "Sean, time to meet the members of our prestigious organization." He motioned behind him and 2 men went to grab Sean. Sean, still blind, felt 2 hands grip either of his arms. He tried wiggling his way slowly out of their grasp, and when that didn't work, he tried a different tactic. He made himself go limp. "What happened?" one of the men asked. They laid Sean on the sand, and he felt one of the men taking his pulse. He suddenly opened his eyes and lashed out with a vicious punch to the face. He felt the man's nose break. He leapt up and started running. He got about 5 steps when he got tackled from behind. He picked Sean up off the ground and asked, "Where were you going to go? There isn't another town for 15 miles. Sean let himself get carried inside what the other man had called the compound. Before long, the man turned into a room with gray blank walls and set him into a cold metal chair. "Wait here," the other man said. Then the 2 men walked out. A few minutes later, an Asian woman in her mid-30s walked in. So you are Sean McAvoy. I have heard quite a lot about you," she said. Sean eyed the sword on her belt. "So, you admire my katana? Let me show you what it can do." She smoothly pulled her sword out and cut off a stray lock of his hair. "I bet you are wondering exactly why you are here. Your great-grandfather, Scott McAvoy, was a Scottish general. He became sick with what the world had become. He traveled to Japan because he had heard... We had some of the world's most ruthless warriors. He trained and became a samurai. He created this organization in pursuit of his original goal. This goal was to rid the world of weak and useless people. This is part of the reason why it is called Katana. It is an organization you will soon become a part of. I don't want to become a part of some sick, twisted society bent on killing everyone," Sean said. "Not everyone. Just, yeah, I know, the weak and stupid people. This is the part where you threaten me, right? Well, it won't work. I have nothing now. You already killed Catherine," he said. "Killed her? She's right here." Suddenly, a wall next to the woman opened up to reveal, of all things, Catherine. Her eyes went wide when she saw Sean. "Sean, you're here!" She tried to run to Sean, but the Asian woman grabbed her arm. "Now, join us, or she dies." Like, I guess she actually dies. Anyway, Sean was still reeling over the news that Catherine was still alive. He knew he couldn't bear to see her die again. "Oh, okay. I will," he said. Sean, what are you doing?" Catherine cried. "I can't bear to see you die again," he said, his head down, staring at the floor. "On to your first test, then," the woman said. Oh, boy. That was amazing. Amazing, just, I can't.
Oh, wait, is that the end?
So bad. Yeah, that was the end.
Oh, okay.
On to your first test, then.
Oh, okay.
And then we have 20 more chapters to go.
Oh my goodness. What?
I think there was actually more than that. I just never posted past chapter 21 on Facebook. Actually, no. I only have up to chapter 20 because apparently chapter 21 is just a link to a non-existent page on DeviantArt now. So anyways, yeah, we've got 19 more chapters to go through. I don't know if we'll get through all of them like anytime soon, but if we ever start running out of things to talk about, we could just go straight here. I'm ready.
Oh my goodness.
So, what do you when I started bringing this up, was it as bad as you expected it to be?
No, not really.
It's
your execution
pretty
is
bad.
100% trash.
Yeah.
But
like I said,
I'm liking...
the plot is decent for what it is. Like you said, my execution is just, it's not good.
Besides
it's really not.
Besides your obvious racist attitude towards Asians in this.
Yeah, I think I think for some reason I got fixated on like the sword katana, and then I wanted to create a link between the people that use the katana and, you know, blah 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 blah. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to remember exactly what my reasoning was like 7-8 years down the line.
No, heck, I can't remember what my reasoning was 2 days ago.
So yeah, that was the prologue and chapter 1 of my amazing saga, Katana, which never got even close to an actual resolution. But we're going to eventually...
Didn't publish it?
No. No. I'm sure somebody would have published it. Maybe like Scholastic or something. Who knows? Anyway... That's it for Katana for this episode, and that's it for this episode, actually. We hit a lot of topics. The Boeing thing, the Stadia, and all that other good and not so good stuff. Mostly not so good from you.
I had a lot of negatives, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. You'll have to come up with a positive story next time. That way you don't seem so depressing next time. Yeah, all these people in the airplane died, and then all these people got stranded on the boat, and then all these people got killed because of their airbags.
Man, just full of death and destruction today, aren't I?
Sorry.
Anyway, that is it's going to be the end of this episode. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching. Thank you thank you to David for coming out and recording with me tonight. If you guys are listening on iTunes or wherever, leave a 5-star review. That'll really help the show out and get us pushed up the comedy pages and whatnot. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye, guys. We appreciate it.
Podcast Period is hosted, produced, and edited by me, Ben, and co-hosted by David. You can find me on Twitter at BenPlaysVidyaS. That's Ben Plays VIDYAS. And David is on Twitter at Car6by16. You can contact the show at Podcast Period on Twitter or email us at podcastperiodpodcast@gmail.com. Be sure to leave us a 5-star review wherever you listen to us. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Thanks for listening.